Well, here we are.
Here we are.
Mr. Keeley, Dr. Robert, as I call you.
Man, it's good to be back here and thinking about a year of the Halo already.
And that's what we're hearing now. We've got a bit of that lovely... This is kind of part of my tone after all these years. But in addition to that, we're hearing that with the brand new Super AT Mod.
Super AT Mod is it.
Is it?
We've kind of been tossing this idea around for a little while, but we put the tires to the pavement here just recently.
Exactly. Well, I feel like I've been a little pesty. So as all you know, we had this wonderful collaboration to come up with the ultimate dual echo, the Halo, which you guys knocked it out of the park so greatly. I'm still just freaked out about it, and so gratified that so many people have resonated with it. Like I do. You never know. It's like something I love so much. Hopefully people will dig it, but the response has been amazing. But how I first got to know you was through the modded version of the BD2. Yeah, you can see the Keeley logo there. This pedal was loaned to me about 8 years ago by a good buddy of mine. I still haven't given it back. Is there a statute of limitations?
There is. After you have it for 7 years, it's yours.
Texas is common law marriage with. And so it's a pedal that I've loved for so long, and it's part of this kind of tone that I've always been searching for. And it's that kind of mid gain to clean, and the way you can have a bit of gain for the way it cleans up, and very responsive to touch. So that pedal was about one of 4 different ways on my pedal board that I was kind of going for the same thing. I was always reaching for this really crystalline, glassy, but just a little bite and gain, And so the BD2 circuit, your modded BD2 circuit, was always the closest thing I could get to it. But as with all things, what if could we, there's a couple things that I would like to change. And so the pedal, it's got 2 modes, essentially. It's got a mode that's called Phat, P-H-A-T, which alludes to Robert's original modded circuit. And then there's the actual modded, if you want to call it that, the AT side, where we did some extra special EQing and carving. But I'll let Robert take it to kind of explain what the origins were here.
So the original Phat Mod was designed to kind of push up the bridge pickup on a Strat or a Tele, just give it a little bit more girth there. I was working with another guy, and he loved that dynamic nature of this circuit. Yeah. And so you pointed out something amazing, that you're like, here, if we carve away some of these frequencies here, look how my playing stands out better, and it's more defined. Yeah. And so your mode is kind of the opposite of what I was thinking. I was thinking in terms of single coils and pushing up a country guitar. Right. You're playing with something that's much more akin to a humbucker, and you have a much bigger dynamic range. And so it doesn't need that push on the low mid bass that that the original Phat Mod did. Yeah. And the other part of the circuit that really sounds good with this new modded version is how we tried to get things to sound a little bit more tube-like with the diodes and the clipping. So we've got this asymmetrical clipping, which is a different clipping on the top and the bottom of the waveform, and it ends up sounding more like tubes. Yeah. So
here's the Phat mode. So, and I've got this the gain about midway up, so it's pretty. Like you said, so if I go to my single coil, now I've played that BD2 forever, and this sounds better. For whatever, if that's the asymmetrical thing, it does sound like a tube amp. It's just driving me crazy. But while retaining the reason I never really used the pedal in that regard too much, but I will now because that sounds great. But I was getting these clean tones you hear me go for the last few years. same.
Yeah.
In the way that cleans up, and so much of the tone I can drive with my technique. You know, it's all there. It's just how you use it. Yeah. I mean, just
Wow.
some of the harmonic content. I had it hooked up in my downstairs office studio. I literally I kept being late for things because I wouldn't stop playing. It's like these are good problems to have, and that's where you want to be. Where that tone that you're going for in your head, and you have this piece of gear that just like here it is.
I'm equally grateful about it too, because your musicianship shows off the parts of the pedal that need to be adjusted. So working with you has been equally rewarding. I mean, it really is nice to have a musician who's depending on those sounds and that clarity, and able to say, hey, it's getting a little congested there, or it doesn't work for me there. It's not inspiring. And then to be able to move those little pieces around and get the response. Micro scoodly doos.
See, I don't want to know. I just love feeling and talk, you know, and hearing, and then you guys can.
We talk microfarads and you go doodly doo.
Yeah, I know. I just like hanging out with smart people. That's my thing. You know, hanging out with people way smarter than you. That's what I do. Fantastic. And of course, so this tone, now we're back on the AT side now. So it's I've got this set up with a little less gain, but it's actually not too far away. And you'll hear where it's just a little more defined. I just want to play melodies all day. I get this tone, you know, the AT Super AT Mod with the halo. You know. I'll get lost. I went away just now, just like, oh, I better focus on. We're doing a video here, folks. It's very, very inspiring.
There is like a lot of space between the notes, and I don't say that to sound funny at all. I mean, it's very quiet. There's no noise to it. And even though you have so much gain on tap, so usually when you have that much gain on tap, there's negative consequences.
Yes.
But between your stuff, it's very delicate.
Yeah. I'm hearing Jeff back there, you know. Same tone you could use on a whereas in that original circuit, I wasn't quite ready to use it in that way. This thing, maybe it's that asymmetrical clipping, but again, things were done to make the top end a bit less harsh, because that type of gain on a single coil, I've got the humbucker tapped at that point, can be a bit harsh, you know. And I've got some pretty bright headphones on, but it's really pleasant. You know, I'm not avoiding it. You know, sometimes I'll not hit that button, right? But that's it. There's going to be so many other things I'm going to use this pedal for, in addition to the voice that I was hoping it was going to give me. All these solo pieces that I've been working on, for just going to be a solo guitar record where I'm playing just really beautiful, simple melodic pieces. Everything just kind of laying where I want it to lay. It's not getting muddy down here like it used to.
Man,
you know?
the Halo and the Super AT Mod like actually enhance your voicing. When you play stuff,
yeah.
it's making the voicing sound better
no,
for sure.
Well, no, for sure, because nice tone, but I need my thing, you know. There it is. You know? No, it really is. But that's how I hear the tone. It's somebody once told me, it's like you don't use delay as an effect. It's part of your tone, because it really is never off, or very rarely. I'll use it in subtle ways occasionally. But you know, with the Halo, I've usually got the expression pedal connected to affect the effect level, so I can have it dry. So I can just, with the little expression pedal, dial it in. If I go back to the, I've got the other Super AT Mod in the fat position. So we get pretty aggressive. For that.
Yeah.
Air conditioning's not my friend today.
The Super AT Mod, what makes it sound, gives Andy that nice chimey top end and that tube amp type growl and distortion, is the fact that this uses JFET transistors. Those JFET transistors are the closest thing we have to tubes. So it's like having little mini tubes in there. And then the whole topology of this pedal, meaning the whole way that the circuit is laid out, is very much like a Fender tube amp. And so it goes like, there's like a JFET or a tube, then it goes into the tone stack, then it goes into the power tubes, and that's where we started to make the difference in the clipping diodes there. And I think that's what gives it that less harsh top end, is when we switched from using regular diodes that turn on very sharply to LEDs, light emitting diodes. And those diodes have a little bit softer edge to them, and it's not as harsh. So I think that's what contributes to making the amp sound so realistic, is that it really is kind of a amp in a box, so to speak, in the sense that it's laid out just like a Fender amp. And so it's kind of easy for me to tweak or think about tweaking the sound. So when you say you want a little bit less of this type, it's kind of easy to picture where it is. And it doesn't have a typical stomp box sound.
Yeah,
you know,
agreed.
With an op amp and some diodes.
I haven't had a pedal feel like that either. Right. It just has such range. A natural thing. Yeah, the dynamic range coming just from the fingers is incredible.
You can totally go from a cleaned up fuzz face type of very clean with high end to full on drive sound.
pretty amazing, man.
Yep. It's been a great evolution with this pedal. We had some success when we came out with the Super Phat version of it, the Super Phat Mod, but that was designed to have a higher gain. We wanted to increase the gain on it and have it not be so transparent of an overdrive, but a little bit high, hot rodded type of thing. So this is kind of nice to go back to more of a tube amp setting, bring down some of those high gain characteristics so that that mid range is all nice and cleaned up, so you can play the stuff that you were looking for. Yeah. So yeah, this is a great pedal.
Again, I realize how spoiled and how fortunate I am to, be at this part of my playing career where I've been playing over 50 years, is the majority, obviously the most of my life. And as you mature and as you're continually chasing the tone and tone questing, you can be more specific, and your technique is driven towards getting certain sounds. As people say, your hands are going to be a part of it, and you're going to kind of try to get the best tone you can out of every piece of gear. Again, like I say, I would have 4 different iterations of this basic type of gain on my pedal board, and in different moods or different settings, the amp might be reacting differently, or it might sound different in the room. All these things. This is what I've been going after. And that's as simple as I can say it. It's like, okay, this is such a groundbreaking thing for me. And again, it could be just some fine tuning of certain elements, but to have this team of the Keeley folks that are willing to go down that path.
No, this is fun, because as we celebrate a year of doing the Halo and working together, it's just another, I told you so. I told you working with Andy was going to bring us much success, because this guy's got magic ears. He makes magic music, and he's going to tell us where we need to, get our ducks in a row. That's what this is. I like
Sonic ducks.
Yeah, exactly.
Tone
Sonic
ducks.
ducks in a row. So again, with this switch kind of signifies so much about it. The old AT mod the old Phat mod is a great sounding thing, and it still has a warm place in my heart because it's kind of how I saw overdrives developing from a tube screamer to a blues driver, a much more open, fuller, transparent instead of a very narrow mid-range focus thing. So this was kind of an eye-opener. But then all of the ways that you've described tone while we were working for years on the Halo and our ability to take what you say, get it to my engineering team, have, Aaron Tackett, Creighton Hale, get in there, mix it up, and help me along in realizing the things that you want. I really like this mod because in this way, it's kind of the old way of me doing things where I kind of lifted up frequencies, lifted up bass frequencies, did more of this. This is, I hesitate to use the word subtractive, but this is like, hey, maybe we should bring this down a little bit. Maybe we should bring this down. Maybe we should settle this back a little bit. And it's, to me, that's a great way to arrive at a better tone, is to take away some of the excess and leave you with something more natural. So it's this cool continuation of working with you where it's like, man, I love the way sounds blend together in our world.
What another joyful journey we've been on, tone questing. First with the Halo, that was a year ago, and now the Super AT Mod. I'm so grateful to have this on my board. And again, what it takes for me to move stuff off, and we achieved it again beyond my dreams. The Halo knocked it out of the park, and now this, I'm getting the voice I've been looking for in that particular kind of tone. So thank you. Man,
you're welcome. It has been that exciting working with you as well.
Brother.
I know how hard it is to move pedals around on your board. It really is. I mean, it's hard. Once you get a sound that you like and you can create with, you're like, that's my voice.
Yes, exactly.
So, I'd hate for anyone to miss out on this limited batches that we're going to be doing of this. Head out to rkfx.com. Check it out.